With Fit Father program, I feed my body well, I work my body, and I also treat training my mind. It's like going to the gym. When we're doing the Great Destroyer, but it's also in here as well. And that's been an equally integral part from a daily practice standpoint of supporting and changing and feeling happiness and fulfillment.
Today's guest is Adam Norris, a 53-year-old fit father from Gold Coast of Australia. Adam has been with the FFP for 5 years. He's lost 40 kilograms, equivalent to around 90 US pounds. Today, he shares his story of shedding the physical weight, but most importantly, how he healed his mind, his spirit, and his connections along the way.
The exercise and the eating and the looking after my system, and the Fit Father program's a big part of it. The training, the nutrition, the support with the group, the videos, even though I've done the programs many, many times, I still come back and I check that. And that has just been a constant to bring me to the place that I am.
Adam, welcome to the Fit Father Project podcast, my friend. We are so happy to have you here with us.
Thank you for being here. Truly an honor. Truly an honor.
It's fun that we can connect digitally like this with these kind of internet platforms, you being on the other side of the world from me, and that we've been connected on this health and fitness and life expansion journey. And I know we have a very powerful conversation ahead of us, and you have much to share about Fit Father and, of course, your life, how it's been unfolding. And to kick things off, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to all the guys listening, your name, your age, where you're from, and anything that you'd like to share about work and family.
Adam Norris here. I am from the Gold Coast in Queensland, which is on the east coast here in Australia. Lovely, beautiful part of the world that we're blessed with amazing beaches that way and then beautiful rainforest that way. It's just truly a wonderful place to be. I was born here and I have two sons. Jemison, he's turning 21 this year. And my youngest son, Lucas, he'll be turning 16 this year. He's actually in the other room getting ready for school, I hope. I've been a business owner. I've done a few things in my past. Currently, I'm working in the digital marketing space. Have done sort of quite some while, choosing a rather simple, cruisy life. As we'll share today, my journey over the last 5 years with everything, including the Fit Father program, has been quite a thing. So, that's where I am sort of at the moment in my sort of work and family world. Just really focusing on the daily presence and keeping a balance of all the things, the work, the light, the dark, the doing, the jobs, the ups and the downs. And it's the daily practices that are everything.
Nice. And you're mid-50s, correct?
Yeah, 53 this year. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and as your story, Dr. Ray, my father and my great-grandfather both passed of heart attacks between 50 and 55. My dad went at 54, my grandfather at 52. So I am very proud to say that I'm about to break that legacy.
Yes. And you certainly look it from here. You look very healthy and vital. And I think it's fair to say, for me, knowing how much weight you have lost, you weren't there a couple years ago. So take us back to kind of what prompted you to take this health journey very seriously. What was going on in your physical life, but also mental, emotional life at the time?
Wow. Well, I was a completely different human being then. I was kind of what you might call in the corporate sort of thing. I was the COO of a general manager, I think they call them here in Australia, of a digital marketing company, doing really well. And look, I think like most of us, we believe and we've been taught by culture and society that we are supposed to chase and consume all the things that we're told that will make us happy. The house, the car, the job, the clothes, all of those things. So the Adam Norris then was a suit-wearing, general managing, hedonistic, indulgent human being. I wasn't doing any harm. I still know in my heart it's a good man. However, I was chasing all the things that I thought would make us happy. I had the car and I was married at the time. Indulgent living, all of those things. And that's what I thought was making me happy. And of course it wasn't, and many times you look yourself in the mirror and I'm like, what is it? But you just numb it and you keep going on through life. That's human behavior. That's what humans
Mm-hmm.
do. Part of my psychology studies that I got to start, unfortunately to finish, to understand us as human beings is a hugely beneficial part about learning the system. You know, we've evolved over billions of years to be incredibly complex and amazing creatures. So, you know, our nervous systems, our brains, we're all taught these things. We're all programmed things. So that's all
Mm-hmm.
I knew. That's all I knew. That's what I thought would bring me happiness and peace. Now, I I had a bit of a heart scare in my office where I was working there, and I got a bit of a tight chest, and uh, yeah, pretty concerning. The CEO was kind of in the room next to me, and I came in and I said, "Hey, look, something's not right." And he raced me down to the doctors, you know. And I think when you go into a doctor's place and doing this and saying, I've got an issue with your heart, I think ninjas come out of the sky and people jump out of the thing and they're plugging things into you. It was, you know, it was very much that. So that experience was, it was probably that moment that, you know, I'm lying there, you know, with all the ECG stuff plugged into me, and you know, they're all over me, being very cautious, wondering whether to ring ambulances and things. And yeah, I laid there at that moment, and you know, it sort of washed over me. It quite an intense sort of feeling and revelation where I kind of just went, what, how, why, how did I get here? What? I thought I was doing all the right stuff, all these sort of things. So I guess there was that real moment, and you hear many people having these experiences, these situations. They're in many shapes or forms, which make us all question everything that we are, we do, who we are, and what we do. So from that, you know, I kind of attempted to get back into it and all these sort of things. You know, the workspace changed, unfortunately, which was quite sad as well. We were working quite really hard for 8 years to get this business, and it was great. It was about to take off and go into some really cool places, but unfortunately, there was some internal things that derailed that. So that kind of was taken away, along with my want to not do it. I was pretty close to you know, walking. You know, I spoke to and said, you know, this is just something we can do anymore. And the marriage finished at the same time,
Hmm.
because that, like the work, was not really authentic. Me and my wife at the time weren't really that happy, and she sort of said, look, this just isn't what I want. And I'm kind of like, yeah. So, you know, that all happened. So, yeah, I packed up bags of clothes, a mattress, my computer, and my desk. And the boys were relatively young then, and we got a place close to the school where we are now, which is great because the boys could walk back and forth from school. And I really just went to ground. I really just, I guess you'd call it a little bit of the dark shadow sort of time. You know, grief and loss was happening.
Mm-hmm.
That was something we've all been through when we've had loss of anything really, relationship or income or work or safety or security.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I processed that sort of season as well, and you know, as we do, and I've had many practices at it. I seem I seem to have these interestingly 7-year cycles, except this time, which is an interesting energetic
For
research
sure.
around that. Apparently, 7 years. That's from a cellular perspective. Apparently, something
Yeah.
happens to us as humans. So, so, and to be honest, I actually struggle to remember the actual moment that I came across you and the Fit Father project. Look, I honestly can't say that I intentionally sat there and went, okay, I've got to I've got to change my way. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I was kind of in this very sort of out of it type space. Look, I'll be honest. I was numbing with drugs and alcohol, as we do. It was a support tool at the time, and I don't actually remember the moment that I came across it specifically, but clearly I did. And I find it an interesting point that I don't specifically remember it, because I feel like it happened organically from an energetic space. I don't know if you want to call it. Sometimes we all talk about that stuff as woo-woo, the universe and energy. But just saying, we're all made of the same stuff, guys. Just it's a cellular. It's all, we're all made of the same stuff. However, clearly it happened, and I signed up, and off I went, and I really wasn't doing anything else in my world at the time. I was just recovering myself, and relearning and recovering who I was, and I trained, and I followed the program. I started at phase 1, and yeah, I just feel like that was where the light sort of started coming back. I kind of remember more that than the actual moment of of intentionally signing and choosing and putting my credit card details, because I did that, right? It's not free. So, but what I do more remember is doing the training, and that I remember, in the morning, I've been very blessed where I am, where I live here. So I'd had the weight set up, and I was out the back with the trees and the sunshine, and I was training, and I just distinctly remember feeling, this feels great. This really feels a feeling of I guess, content, fulfillment, happiness. And I went, that's it. I thought all of that stuff. They all told me that stuff was the stuff, and I just remember starting to feel better, and I really just embraced that feeling, and continued the training a lot, and it's been great, and I still do it. It's like brushing my teeth. It's been, and I think that's about 5 years now.
Wow.
5 years ago, and I truly cannot. The exercise and the eating and the looking after my system, and the Fit Father program's a big part of it. The training, the nutrition, the support, with the group, the videos that, even though I've done the programs many times, I still come back and I check my form. I make sure, hang on, did Dr. A say, was that an internal twist, or let me just check that. And that has just been a constant, to bring me to the place that I am, and along with that also, my training of the body, and I also look at training of the mind in the same way. With Fit Father program, I feed my body well, I work my body, and I also treat training my mind. It's like going to the gym. When we're doing the Great Destroyer, I'm doing this, but it's also in here as well, and that's been an equally integral part from a daily practice standpoint, of supporting and changing, and feeling happiness and fulfillment. I'm really grateful that I feel like that's where I am at the moment. Presence. It almost feels stupidly simple when you say it. These words and lines that we use. Presence and gratitude and all of these things. Now they're hard to do because we need to remember that as humans we've got a very incredible evolutionary system that's designed for survival. So our minds aren't designed to make us happy; they're designed to keep us alive. And all of these things that happen there are reactions to that. Though we're not given the manual for this. You buy a washing machine and a fridge, and you get a book. Press this button, do that, make it work. We're not given that as humans, and when we start learning how we're evolutionary designed as an organism, and what drives us, the subconscious, drives the bus 80% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So when we understand that a very important aspect to us, and then we apply daily practices,
Mm-hmm.
and to share the real revelation is I got COVID probably just over 2 years ago, and I wiped me out for a week, but I had long COVID. It took me out for about 10 months before I could literally get back into the gym. I had severe fatigue, sinuses. I almost went down the road of sinus operations. So about 10 months later, I could get back into the gym, and I've been rebuilding, and that's probably I've been getting back to that point maybe in the last 3 to 4 months. But I will say one of the things that I look back on that thing was that even though I was really unwell and quite fatigued, but I truly have learnt that it is won or lost in the daily micro practices, boundaries, and choices that we make in the moment. It's the little things, and it truly does come down to that very simple fact of what I choose to do each day and the little things, and it all adds up. It's the little things that we do, and that was probably one of the big revelations I came out. So I looked back on there and I thought, well, look, yeah, I had fatigue. I was pretty wiped out. I was barely making it through the day. But hey, I probably could have eaten a little bit better, trained it just a little bit more. So that was something that I learnt during there. And, 10 months later, emailed in and say, hey guys, time to reset. Send me right back to phase one. Off we go again. We're gonna restart. And I'm actually at the moment, I think I'm about 2 weeks away from finishing phase three. So
Nice.
I've gone right through the program again, and the results. It really is really an important thing, and having that support mechanism, and training the mind, and look, to share with you as well. This year has been about facing, we call it our shadow selves, facing the things inside me that are scary, my shame, my guilt. And whoa, that's great to do, and really, really powerful to do, because I think the thing to realize, I was doing psychology studies, and just a quick tell you, I remember them putting up we were talking about consciousness, we talk about subconscious, conscious, right? And they put up a picture of an iceberg. Well, we've all seen the picture of the iceberg, right? It's got the level of water, the bit on the top. And they go, right, this is consciousness. So the top bit is the stuff that we think of and we have control of, and we do all this sort of stuff. The bottom half is the subconscious. Now, that's in the subconscious. We don't really do that, but that's where all of our belief systems have stored. That's all the trauma that we've had in the life. And I know trauma is a word that gets thrown around these days, but even a little bit of trauma. We live in a world now where we have this elevated level of fear and unsafety, which sits below the surface, which I truly feel is just one of the most insidious states of humans to live in, because stress is the killer. And as we know, when the system's under stress, it fires off cortisol, all this sort of thing. It shuts the system down. However, I feel that we now live in a world where that stress is under the surface, and it sits there, and it's insidious because it goes over year after year after decade. And we're all wondering why people are dying, like my father, of a heart attack. He was perfectly fit, but that stress that sits under the earth, and it looks like, oh my God, is my girlfriend going to leave me? Or am I going to lose my job? Or And we've got the whole world of media to thank for that. But
Mm-hmm.
that is a very dangerous exercise. So it's very much something to be aware of. And personally, I'm very grateful to come to a place where I've practiced and cultivated a quiet mind.
Yeah.
I think if someone said to me, Adam, what would be one or two, I probably have to pick three things that I'm most grateful for. Number one would be that I have worked to quieten that voice in your head, the
Mm-hmm.
one that's not kind, the one that tells you you're no good, the one that takes you away from presence. It's
Mm-hmm.
not thinking about yesterday and it's not thinking about tomorrow. And truly to say that is the place of where you find genuine, real happiness and fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the present. Because what I've noticed is when you are present, you actually feel more you think. And as I said, the mind's not designed to make us happy. It's designed to
Mm-hmm.
keep us alive. So interesting to observe when you have a feeling, it could be something you're interested in, something you're happy about, stuff like that. Have you ever observed how that feeling feels really good and it might show up a little bit, but then we take it up into the head.
Yeah.
And once the mind gets a hold of it, it goes, no, don't do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an evolutionary design. The design and the ego is designed to do that because it wants to keep us safe. It doesn't want us to change, and we're trying to live in homeostasis. So as I said, number one is the quiet mind. It is just nice to sit here. At any point, I was just doing it before. I sat at the back and had a coffee, looking at the trees, and I wasn't thinking about anything. I wasn't worried about what I have to do today. I wasn't berating myself about something that went wrong yesterday. I just sat there in presence, and there's just fulfillment in that. It just nothing feels as good as that. It truly does, and trust me, I've tried it all. I have. I've tried. I've tried the RIT. I've been an oil working, flying around the world. I've done all. I was a nightclub DJ. I've done all that world. I've done the corporate world. I've tried it all, and nothing feels as good as just sitting there, feeling connected with everything. I know it sounds a bit
Mm-hmm.
woo-woo, but it does. Number two would be finding Fit Father program, definitely. And number three is my beloved, my Megan. She is. There are no words to put together how just beautiful she enriches my life and how it feels. So that journey, has brought to this place, and I feel like they're kind of the main keys to sort of doing that. And I know it's hard. It's hard in this human construct world where we're told all of these things we're supposed to do, and I'm really great to see that there's a lot of connection in the men's world, and we're supporting each other. Fit Father's one of the great examples, and it's changing. But I get it. It's hard. It's hard to wake up and make that choice when the world is banging and demanding, and it's the first thing that it does. It takes away, when you get busy, when you get stressed, when you're hurt, when you're in pain. These things that are really helpful for us are the first things that seem to get taken away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. It's hard to keep those boundaries. It's hard to sit there and say to yourself, hey, you know what? I am going to go and do my gym session today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go and I'm going to say no to that thing. Yeah, I get it's important. But it's hard to sit there and go no, especially when it's very demanding, especially
Mm-hmm.
when it's a very critical thing. And it's really easy to go, well, yeah, I can skip the gym sesh just one day. But that is a path, and the nervous system. Once you tell the nervous system that's okay, again, through neuroplasticity, the words and the things that we think become that. That's the great thing about the brain. It's pretty intelligent, but it's also pretty dumb. You can program it through repetition. We've all
Yeah.
heard of the RAS system, the reticular activation system. We can program it, and that's what's happened in our lives. Our mind and everything has been programmed through repetition patterns of what we say to ourselves, beliefs, things that we support. So it can be changed. So it's hard in our modern world of demands and pressures to hold those boundaries, but please value them and understand that doing your workout is critical, because in 1 week, 1 month, 1 decade, it will show up. It will show up and be there when you need it. And that's the point of the daily practices. Just because you're not in crisis and trauma today, you're ready for when it comes. And when it hits you, you're not taken out. And that's all I hope for. Me and my beloved Megan, we have our daily practices to go, you know what, darling? When the storms come, and it will, I think it's silly for humans to think that one day that we can create and cultivate a world where we don't have pain, we don't have suffering. It's the laws of the universe. You can't have light without dark. You can't have up without down. You don't have happy without sad. It's just how it is, and it's okay. And it's okay to accept and sit in our pain and sit in our suffering and be okay, because it passes and we learn, and we can be okay with that. So, these practices that we do, when those times come along, we're supported. We have our practices to go to. We've built our physical health, we brought our physical strength with the Fit Father program, with our training, with what we eat, with our men supporting each other. We've got that there. We've got our mind with practices that come along, and when these things hit, it goes, no, hang on. No. You're not useless, Adam. You're not a failure, Adam. You're just human. You're doing the best you can. It's okay. And your reaction, is probably a trigger from past trauma and things that have happened to you. But you know what? We can learn from that and we can change it. And I just really feel that out of all of it, it truly is my definition of what I call happiness and fulfillment. Yeah.
There is so much I want to ask you off of that. And it's going to kind of come in maybe like a little bit random assortment. One is, you talked about the importance of having these almost like integrity boundaries in place, where obviously the workouts being a huge one of those. I want to zone in on that time when you were experiencing long COVID, though, because that's a persistent, challenging experience that you didn't have control over, that was destabilizing your fitness routines. How did personal boundaries show up for you in that time for you to still like you're on track? And I'm asking for the guy too, who has some other kind of struggle, persistent nagging injury, stressful period happens in life, something like that. What commitments did you continue to make to yourself, and how did you keep a through line amidst that challenge?
Well, during these challenges time, like you said, what happens is we don't have the energy, we don't have the resources, we don't have the resilience to kind of push through it. And it is really easy to just go, I just I can't do it. So personally, reflecting, it was me going, I know these things are important for me. I know these things are value for me, and I know everything in me is saying no. I'm so fatigued. I can barely, get through a day at work. Everything in you goes, no. Go and get some comfort. When we're in pain, we reach for the comfort. Humans, we avoid, seek pleasure, avoid pain. So when we're in pain, we want to support it. So you reach for that food. It's going to make me feel better. I just want to feel better. And it's very easy to go there. And I did, absolutely. Look, I did have those times where those things happened, though I fought with it intentionally. I fought with that voice, I fought with that feeling. And it was the same thing I kind of did when I quieted my mind during that time where I came back to this house and I went to ground. I literally walked around for weeks like a crazy person going, shut up, to my brain. I literally, and it's the same sort of thing, the power of our mind, so in this example, like you're saying, it was like, no, no, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to feel, and I guess I process through it that way, from a mental perspective, to push through some of those times where, yes, I didn't feel like it, but I did pick up some weights. I did go for a walk. I did do something. It was horrible and painful, but I did it. Um, along with all the medical stuff that was happening in the background
Yeah.
with the doctors.
So it sounds like you confronted it mentally and then translated it, not every time, but many times into positive action, contrary to the negative voice. And I'm sure that built more trust in yourself. And I'm sure you felt a little bit better afterwards, at least in integrity of having not chosen the weaker path. And then you do that enough times and you're obviously changing the neural connections, but also making progress or at least not backsliding.
Absolutely, nail on the head. And your point about the neural connections, absolutely. Your
Yeah.
nervous system listens. And in that example where I think I said about the boundary, that one time you go, oh, look, I'll skip that. It's funny when you say that, the feeling, and this is something I'm really grateful for with a quiet mind, is when you feel and listen to your body, you're connected to it. It speaks to you. It tells you when things are wrong. The gut feeling, trust it. But nail on the head, absolutely.
And what's funny is you make that choice that, to skip that workout that one day, it inherently makes it more challenging the next time. You've reinforced that voice. So the next time you're at that crossroads, it's like that voice is even more tempting. And on the flip side, you choose what we'll call like the light path, the path that's towards, it just gets easier the next time. So we're almost like creating the future scenario of challenge or ease through our present choices. So there's an echo effect. I love that. I want to ask you another question related to the quiet mind. I want to know your process for quieting your mind. Obviously, I have this visual of you in the house once you're resetting your life, confronting the crazy talk in your mind. I'm wondering if there's also the process of maybe like stillness practices, breathing, meditation, and
Absolutely.
and how that plays with your health journey. Are these happening simultaneously? Is it you get healthy first, the mind's coming through it? Is it all happening at once? Is it one big thing? Is there a sequential order for you in this process of healing the mind as well as the body?
No, all together, 100% all together. So yes, firstly, one can't exist without the other, and the power of our mind and our will always take over, for sure. However, one supports the other. We know the mind-body connection, the mind-gut, and this is what we have to pay. We have to, I think if there's a really important thing that everyone can do is go and look up YouTube videos on how we function as a thing, because the physical aspect, it's insane when you look at the research of what happens to the mind and our health just when we contract a muscle. Like when you look at the research behind us contracting a muscle, the knock-on effect of what's released in chemistry in the body, as far as even looking at gut biome and enforcing your immune system. So we are a system. It all works together. It's like a car engine. It has to work together. You take one part out and it falls over. So it has to happen together because one supports the other. When you're training. So I'll kind of take you through sort of particularly. So in the morning, I get up. I immediately drink water. Thank you. That's in your instructions. I go out the back and I get sunlight in my eyes, and I do a qigong session, which is a shaking and tapping. It just gets the fascia of the body going, and I've just got some small dumbbells just to do. I do about a 10-minute qigong, and I also listen to some mantras around, my self-worth, that I'm good, and I'm reinforcing that, and also at the same time I'm giving thanks. I'm thanking for the new day. So it's a gratitude
Mm-hmm.
mantra, as well as injecting that energy into me as I get in the day, giving my body and connecting with the sun. So I do that first thing.
Nice.
Then I go and I actually do a page of journaling. So I just write down just an A4, A5 little
Mm-hmm.
thing, and I just write one page. It's quick. It takes 3 minutes, and I think this is something that we should all pay attention to. It doesn't take long to do these things,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a big impact. Breath work. You can breathe for 1 minute and change your system instantly. So these things don't take time, don't take long. Technically, this whole thing takes me 20 minutes every morning. So I
Yeah.
do the journaling, and I do that, and and that's a gratitude thing. That looks like, thank you for the day. Thank you for my health. Thank you that I'm breathing. Thank you I don't have cancer. Thank you for all that I have. And I also write, I'm safe. I'm worthy. I'm a good man. I'm doing well. It all is okay. I'm thank you, thank you, thank you. And I bring that energy in. Then I also set the intention for my day.
Mm-hmm.
So there is the to-do list, absolutely. But something that I incorporate is, what do I want to feel?
Mm.
And that's a really important reflection point that I come back to in the night. Then obviously the day starts, get out in there, and I'm very grateful with where I work. I actually train at lunchtime. So 11:30 to 1, I go across the road. I do my training session Monday to Friday. Saturday as well, but I'm not working Saturday. But also during the day too, I've put in what I call micro practices. So I'll be sitting at my desk, and I will just close my eyes, and I'll just breathe for 60 seconds, and I'll do that. And I do that. I do that very regularly, and especially in between a task. So I'll do a task, I'll stop, I'll wrap it, I'll do a short piece of breath. And there's a very interesting thing with this thing called push pull, and or in out. So I'm very intentional about going task, break, task. So you're almost refueling the nervous system and
Yeah.
things. So I do a little bit of breath. I actually work in a really nice area. So 4 times a day I walk out of the office and I do a 10-minute walk out by the
Nice.
water, come back. I do that during the day. At the end of the workday, I come back home, and Megan and I have a very intentional 10-minute reconnection point. So I immediately walk through the door, and we connect, and we have a moment of connection instead of just pushing into the night sort of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
again, these moments of just stopping and being present and holding is really, really helpful. Do the night, whatever it is, and then we have a night ritual where a bit before bed we turn all the main lights off, light candles. We do a meditation session, a bit of maybe yoga nidra, just bring the nervous system down, let our systems get ready for sleep, and we have very good sleep hygiene in our
Wow.
rooms as well. So that's kind of what the daily practices look like from a day-to-day perspective.
Honestly, that's beautiful. And I'm just experiencing the vision of what your life that you just described today versus that contrast of your ex-wife and situation where you guys are stressed, unhappy. Like the contrast couldn't be more stark, I don't think, without knowing everything in the former.
Absolutely.
What a
It's
flow.
funny. I look at the pictures of that guy because I have them around, and I honestly look at him going, and not with any kind of negative feelings and stuff, or pity or anything. I look at that guy and I go, wow, you just didn't know what you didn't know,
Yeah.
and you're a different human than the one I know today.
Yeah. And the foundation, his pain that he created
Absolutely.
unknowingly was
You
the
cannot
seed
go
of
through it.
this, was the seed of all this. So I think that's where you connect the dots looking backwards and you're like, wow, all feels so progressive. And you can even be grateful for those moments.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think that's the key thing. I think if I can encourage anyone is we're so bad at beating ourselves up for that. But if there's anything you can do in those moments where you're berating yourself and you're telling yourself these things, shift the perspective and go, hang on, I did the best I could at the moment, because you can't look back and go, oh, what an idiot I was, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what I knew today. Hindsight, you got to be careful of. So in those moments, guys, just shift your thinking from, oh God, what an idiot I am, what a day, balls it up, go, okay, hey, that happened. There's a lesson. Let me turn it around and look at it and go, okay, what can I learn from this? What can I change? And it shifts the energy. It shifts the energy from that thing. And yes, you're right. Out of pain is born lessons and change. I mean, look
Mm-hmm.
at some of the incredible people in the world that we listen to. I mean,
For sure.
Nelson Mandela had to sit in jail for 25 years.
Yeah.
Um, you look at Oprah's story, all of them. You know, humans will fail more than we succeed. Thomas Edison, what, 900 attempts at the light bulb? Michael Jordan, how many failures did he have? So, yeah, if we can learn to embrace those things in that way. Uh, but look, some of them are really traumatic and they break us forever. And I'll acknowledge that. You know, when we talk about trauma and things happen, there's been people that have been through horrific. I mean, my grandfather and grandmother were Polish Jews. My grandmother survived Auschwitz. That's trauma, that breaks,
Well,
the human mind intensely. So, but we can learn from it and change, and I'm thankful, and even still, look, it doesn't go away. Look, I still have times where I feel sad and stuff. It happens all the time, but I sit in and I
mm-hmm.
go, that's okay. I'm just feeling a bit sad. I'm feeling a bit down. I'm feeling like I didn't do a great job today. It's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. I think it's because you're so connected to experience and not outcomes. Experience, and like one of your mantras is
Absolutely.
balance and gratitude in the moment. And that's something I think is starkly unique about your mindset in contrast to many guys who come on here. Is for you, it's definitely about the process. Like I hear about your daily flow, and it is so intentional. It's baked in these moments of restoration. You have the benefit for sure of living in Gold Coast and having beautiful places to walk, but just the fact that you understand that your life is a series of a present moment. It's the present moment. And I guess you could say the next building block would be like days, if you will, hours, minutes, days. And you just tend to create beautiful days because you're interested in experience. And then outcome happens as a byproduct of that. And I think a lot of guys who struggle with Fit Father, even those that have been successful up to a point, are very much outcome oriented because we're conditioned in our minds to be so. You achieve your outcome. You have not achieved that amount of presence and connection to the moment, and your mind has still stayed active. Some of those negative thinking patterns have not been confronted or released, and then guys backslide. And I think you've been on
Absolutely.
this whole journey of healing. That's the mind is integrated and obviously is creating through the will and in the vision and the surrender that is creating the body habits. So please speak
Mm.
into any of that I just shared.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nail on the head. Look up how our dopamine system works. That's key. And again, it comes back to that point I was saying to you before. It only works in the presence. And the dopamine system is the same, because when you look at the dopamine system, you can't push to an outcome. Like if you like, and gym workouts are a perfect example,
Mm-hmm.
because it hurts. It's hard. Now, if you're sitting there in that workout going, I'm going to get through this, because down there
Mm-hmm.
it will feel good, our dopamine systems do not work that way. And as you've just shared, many guys struggle with exactly that. It's outcome generated. It doesn't work. You've got to shift our system into, when you're doing that workout, this makes me feel good today.
Yeah.
This feels good now. And we all do it, right? You know, how many times do you go, oh, I don't feel like going to the gym, and you go and you go, damn, I'm glad I did that. I just feel
Mm-hmm.
better. So we all know that. So I very much am not outcome focused. When I'm in the gym doing my training, and I'll also share with you, the mind body connection is really important. So as I train, I do my motions to breath, and I
Mm-hmm.
keep very present. So it's almost, I train in a meditative state with
Mm-hmm.
breath and connecting with my body, my eyes closed, and the mind body connection. So same sort of thing when you bring it into the present, and this goes for everything. When you bring it into the present and you feel it, and you've got your mind body connection going on, through earbuds. Thankfully, the gym music's not too loud. I asked them to turn it down several times because I'm like, guys, if you can hear that over noise cancelling earbuds, there's something wrong. And as you said, yes, if you can shift it to this feels good today, and that's again what you're doing there. Not only our dopamine system will attach the pleasure to the doing.
Mm-hmm.
We need to attach the pleasure of the doing in the moment, not the reward, because you hit the
Mm-hmm.
reward, and then we all go. And as you've just shared, it's all out the window.
Mm-hmm. And it also makes me believe, like a guy who's just starting out on this program, who at this point, it does not feel great to move a heavy body. Knees are aching, exercise is hard. Is when you go in and do it, although it may not feel amazing while you're doing it right now, you can affirm the process. So as you're working out or as you just finish, you're affirming the fact that you're showing up, that you're taking aligned action, which does feel good, and that you got through it and that you feel great. And I guess you're affirming more like closer to these micro experiential moments as opposed to hanging all your reward on some kind of scale number at some point or some future projection, which is all in the mind. It's not the lived experience. So, yeah.
Absolutely, and the things, as humans, we seek pleasure. We're driven by pleasure and enjoyment. If something feels good, our system is designed to chase it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key, And just coming back to, the guys that are starting this program and are making that choice, it is hard, yeah, because it's not something you're used to, and yeah, heavy bodies and stuff. But that's what I like about the way that you start the program. When you look at the first 30 days, what's really good about the program, the Fit Father program, is you build, and you've done that so well, Dr. A. The way that you've designed the program is to build. To build what we're talking about is to build the habits
Mm-hmm.
where, and I was listening to something from Arnold Schwarzenegger the other day, who's 72. This guy says, "Why do you keep going to the gym?" And he goes, "Mate, it's like breathing oxygen. I just do it. Like brushing my teeth. I went to the gym 20 years ago. I went to the gym yesterday. I'll go today and I'll go tomorrow. It's just built into us." And I think that's, and we all know habit forming takes time. And I think that's what's great about the Fit Father program is that you've built into that first 30 days the foundations of that habit building, because the training technically is pretty light. It's 3 days. And I know I say that because I'm training, but in the beginning, it's little bits, If you can do those 3 workouts in the week of the program, make this minor, and be kind to yourself, be gentle, do baby steps. Look, if you just start off and the first week of your fit part of a program, you get 50%, you get 50% done. That's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. No one sits in front of a piano and plays it like a genius from day one, right? No one does anything great from day one. It's built with time. So be kind to yourself and be okay. Reach out to the support group, because
Mm-hmm.
there is nothing more important for a human being to have community and connection and
Yeah.
support and be validated. There's a reason solitary confinement in prison is designed as a torture mechanism. It breaks everything. So, you know, to come back, so guys that are starting this, yeah, just be kind, be gentle, and just say to yourself, you know what, today I'm just going to do 10% better than yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might not get through the whole workout. Yeah, I might not have done that meal as well, but that's okay. I'll do better
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. And shifting that, and again, that comes back to shifting that self-talk, from self-deprecation to I'm not good enough, I'm going to fail and stuff, to, hey, I'm learning. And this is an interesting one that I came across recently too, when to trick our nervous system and our fear center, because we are, fear and the ego is designed to stop us from doing things. It's like it's just designed to keep us alive. So when we all say ourselves, oh, I'm going to go and do something big, start a business, get a partner, da 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 da. Have you ever noticed when we say that to ourselves, all our fear gets thrown up? Oh, well, that's all failed in the past, all of that sort of thing. We've been evolved for that to happen. So understand that's normal. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. That is evolution designing to stop us from doing something dumb, like jump off a cliff or pick up a snake, or that's a survival thing. But an interesting thing that I shifted was going, not just making something so big as break it down, just go, I'm just going to learn how to fill in the blank. And it's the same thing with just starting the program. You know what? I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm going to lose 20 kilos. I'm just going to learn to do a little better tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm just going to learn to do a little better than yesterday. And I've got my Fit Father videos. I've got the group. I've got the support. And that shift is a big part in getting past the mental blocks that I feel that we all face as we're coming up against resistance.
Yeah, that action of any size that moves us out of resistance is part of the purification process. Because I'm thinking like now, like the workouts, as are as mental as they are physically strengthening. And I really do feel like when we're shedding the excess weight that we've accumulated over the years, or repatterning negative thinking patterns, it's a purification through action and effort. Like, it's not like it's all has to be hard effort. Like some things are just straight up letting go of things, but that workout that you show up for is your testament and blessing to rewiring that old pattern. And in that case, you're constantly winning all the time, even through the hard stuff.
Yeah, you're right. And it is that shift into, it's the little things that matter.
Yeah.
And it's the same in life. Look, where, I will share each morning when I go out and look at that sun in the morning, I am reminding myself that one day I will look at that and that will be the last time. I think Western culture's lost its reverence for the fact that life is short. We are a tiny thing in this massive universe. We're a blip. It's just borrowed time. And I don't do that from avidity. What it does is it reminds me how precious today is.
Yeah.
So it's the little things. And like you said, achieving that workout doesn't seem much. You're not going to do one workout and feel different. But that you did it. Even if you got halfway, that's okay. Better than nothing.
For sure.
Better than you did yesterday. So 100%, it's the little things that matter every day that add up. And you listen to all the successful people out there, they're all on YouTube and they tell you the same thing. They're not smarter. They're not better. They weren't blessed with anything much. You're talking everyone from Steve Jobs to you name it. They all just didn't give up. They all just kept the momentum up. And that's truly how it's won. Anything.
Yeah.
And we're humans. We're cyclic with our energy. We have ups, downs. We have this, and that's, as we said, that's the human existence. But it's okay. Just keep going.
And I'll say that on that note, and as we wrap this, I'm very grateful that this community and this program has been a way for you to channel your energy into more consistency, to be a framework and a platform that you've layered so much wisdom and personal insight on top of, that really makes this a complete Fit Father transformation. When I throw out the terms body, mind, and spirit, it can seem trite, but I think your life of what you've done here is a living testament to the layers through which we transform. The body, obviously, I mean, you dropped the equivalent of 70 kilograms, right? Almost 90 US pounds. The mind, you release the baggage of the stress, the unhappiness, the disconnection. And I guess the spirit is the entire process of becoming with the present moment, feeling connected, feeling grateful, feeling more trust. and in honestly sharing and living more authentically. So in that case,
Absolutely.
you're doing it beautifully, and I'm very inspired.
Cool.
Well, I don't know. We could definitely leave this, end this with a nice moment of.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Look, yeah, just it's just been a real honor to sort of share the story.
yeah,
And I think you watch some of those videos I did. It's very much in my heart. I think like you, you've built everything you've done, with your story and your dad and everything and what you've been through. And it's been very much in my heart to follow a similar path. And, to be honest, just, I'm facing those shadow selves and those things that are holding me back that are still in there, to do that, and you experiencing the feeling like, you sit in front of me and all of these men out there and look what you've given us. That like feels great. That's what life is really, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? How good that feels. So, when you're doing for others. So I carry the flag for you here down here in Australia.
I love it.
I definitely, and people do approach me and say, I think the other day I was at work and this 20-something guy overheard me say something. He's like, "What? You're turning 53 this year?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What?" So, and then that flows into conversations about, well, what do you do? How do you do it? And, you share the things. So I definitely share the Fit Father stuff a lot.
I love to hear that.
People say, "Oh, what shall I do?" I just said, just do that. Just do that.
Well, thank you, Adam, for, living it, sharing it, and for this conversation I know is going to reach the right person listening to this today to take a deeper cut in this journey. Like, this is a beautiful creation. I can't wait for guys to listen to this.
Oh, this is funny. Look, here's the book I'm working through at the moment.
Yeah, I like that. How to Meet Yourself. Nice.
Yeah. It's been a really great educational tool on understanding the system. But there's so much out there. I think, like we were saying earlier, guys, just please invest some time in looking up stuff on YouTube. That's what's beautiful. You can pick this thing up. Mm-hmm. And you can find YouTube videos on your nervous system, the dopamine system, all of it. Yeah. Dr. Huberman stuff's great. Mm-hmm. Please just learn. We've got so much material, and it's presented really well. And I know the Fit Father stuff is opening up to that other part as well with your direction, which is fantastic.
Love it. Thank you for our conversation today, Adam.
Pleasure. It's been great to have the time with you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Fit Father Project podcast. If you love what you heard, please rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts. It really helps spread this show to more men who need this valuable info. To watch full video episodes of this podcast and other motivational videos to inspire your training and more, visit our Fit Father Project YouTube channel. It's free and everything's made for busy guys over 40 like you. Visit youtube.com/Fit Father Project to get access to our entire video library. And finally, if you or someone in your life is interested in becoming a fit father or needs help losing weight, building muscle, and living healthier after age 40, then visit fitfatherproject.com, where you can see our proven programs, supplement line for guys 40 plus, and free meal plan and workouts to get you started. This is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi signing off. I'll see you in the next episode.